I'm currently in the middle of sewing a trash bag for a car. And right now I'm looking for where my elastic bands are at so that I can make sure I get those sewed down properly. I found one. There goes the second one. Okay. I was talking to my sister today while I was sewing, and she said it sounds like a car having a problem starting up. And it reminded me because I've actually been having issues with one of my cars. And yeah, it just kind of reminded me about that. Just did a quick back stitch. And I have this cat that's a demon who is currently hiding underneath my feet. She's actually trying to help me, or he rather, is trying to help me sew, stepping on my foot. Says I'm not going fast enough. Clips will get out of there. So I'm new to sewing, and I do a lot of different crafts, but I like to be as economical as possible. And since fabric is super expensive, I'm using primarily recycled or upcycled items to teach me the arts of sewing. So like right now, Calypso, will you stop? I need my foot. I just went over my first band. I'm sorry. Will you come out of it? Come on. This is the little troublemaker who is currently standing and grabbing my feet and pushing my sewing pedal, making it really impossible to get this done. He wants attention. And now that he got it, he's gonna come back for more. Will you stop? He just kicked my my pedal out of the way. And so I'm just sewing down these bands. And the material I'm sewing it right now is actually recycled animal feed bags. I have one that is a dog food bag, I believe, and the other one is the liner is actually a the liner is actually, it's called Smart Beats, and it helps ruminant animals, so your horses and cattle, and in my case goats, stay better hydrated. But it's plastic lined, and so the idea for this bag is something I got from She Sews Seams. She's on a lady named Chelsea. She's on YouTube. And she said, hey, sew some bags for the car. And while she uses a lot of materials that she gets from the Dollar Tree, which I might try, I use more recycled items. And so now I'm finished, and here comes the part where people refer to it as birthing the bag. And so it's the reveal to see what everything's going to look like. And now that I'm seeing it, I remember this is actually a goat feed bag on the outside. You just have to be patient when you're going about this so that you don't rip anything open. Hello everybody. Thanks for joining. This is actually my first time going live. People come to my house and watch me craft sometimes, and they're like, you should just go live and do it. I have posted some videos sometimes, but just going live seems a little bit easier. What I'm doing right now is I'm just trying to, here, let me get one that I sewed earlier. So this is a bag, and it's got an elastic string, and basically you would hang it over the headrest in your car, use it for trash. It's got a water resistant liner, so if something wet gets in there, it's not a big deal, you can just wipe it out. And I just made it with a couple of recycled feed bags and some a piece of elastic thread and some thread. And that's what this one here is as well. It's going to be the counterpart, because I don't know about you, but if I put a trash can on the right side of the car, it won't be available when I need it, because I'll only be able to reach from the left. So I want one on each side. These are really, really, really easy to sew too. So for a little bit of idea of how much practice I have sewing, I started sewing about a week and a half ago. And my only experience with a sewing machine up until that time was, gosh, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago when I was in home ec in 7th grade, however long ago that was. And we sewed 2 projects that year. And then I've just been watching a lot of things, like a lot of videos and such, and almost had it. My biggest issue I'm learning is that I don't like to leave a really big gap for turning things around, because I think I sew better when I can hide the seams. So this is roughly what the bag looks like. This is what the inside lining is. And this was a bag of, it looks like hay pellets. And so what we'll do now is we'll put that inside. And get our corners all pressed out. Important, it gives the bag its design. There's this thing called rolling the seams. So when you're sewing, if you kind of hold it between your fingers and you just give it a little bit of a roll, it helps get that seam where you want it to be at, making it the shape that you are going for. Same thing I'm doing on the inside one now. There's our hanging elastic. And now to just give this a nice finished look, because we don't want the seam coming up and we still have this hole, we're going to clip this up and we're going to sew it around. And we're going to roll those seams so that they're at the top where they belong. These clips here, they're really come in handy when you need to put something in, a lot easier than doing a pin. But I find that they get caught up on the sewing machine. So I have to go really slow so that I can turn. But with this kind of material, especially that more waterproof or water resistant one, I don't like to put any holes in it that I don't have to. I'm just pulling all that up. And then what I'm going to do is just give it a finished look and go all the way around it again. Hi, how are you? So if you're new to sewing, like I am, you just take things slow and easy. It's the best way to go about it. Make sure you have your foot down. I heard somebody refer to that as the seat belt of your sewing machine. And then everybody has their own way of starting things off. I backstitch a few stitches first and then come back forward on them to do my lock-in. Some people will go forward and then backstitch. I'm doing about a 1/4 inch seam right now. And really my most important part is to make sure that I get that hole that I just turned everything through on. And you just let the machine do its thing. And if you need to stop, you stop, put your needle down so that things don't move around, and then you can pick up again. This part here is really quite easy. I'm coming up to my elastic, and what I like to do is I just really like the elastic to be in there. And so far it's only been sewn one time, so I'm just going to bring it back over the bag so it gets sewn here again. And I've got a snag. Sometimes that happens there. Pull out. And then as we come up on this next elastic, we're going to do that same thing. Just going to pull it down so that it goes up under the feet. We're sewing a whole circle here. And I just got back to where I started, and so I'm just going to backstitch it 3 times. I have a computerized sewing machine, so I can just hit my backstitch button and let it go, and that will do 1 stitch. Now what I'm going to do is I want to do a second line going around, and rather than take everything out, I'm just going to continue to use the same guide that I was, which was the top of the bag, and I'm going to change my needle position just so that I have 2 lines that are parallel to each other, but I don't have to change how I'm measuring the go around. And I also don't have to take my project out because I just changed my position. And in the end, what will happen is I'll have a little bit of a loop that I can just snip out, because I backstitched both the end one and the starting one. And I'm coming up on that elastic again, so I'm just going to make sure that stays in place. And so now that's now connected 3 times. And I don't have to worry about it coming off, even with the toughest of people pulling on it. And I can see the start of my second row here, so we're almost finished. And I'm just gonna back stitch it 3 times. Lift my foot, pull the strings, and cut it. Then we're gonna snip the threads. I throw mine on the floor, and then I sweep up in the end. Trying to keep track of them and take the time to put them all away. That's what I call wasted effort, and I don't have time for that. Just don't have time for it. Hello Chastity, hello SLS, hello Nikki Poo, hello Channy, hello Christina. And so there you have it. I now have a set of bags to hang for trash in the car. The next project I am working on is actually a zipping project, and this one is another one that I got from She Sews Seams. I wrote down my instructions. One of the things I like about sewing is, yes, you can use a pattern for things, but there are a lot of things that you don't really need to use a pattern for at all. What did I, oh, here we go. That you don't need to use a pattern for. You can just kind of like approximate it and guess at it, and you can repurpose things. And so in this one, we're gonna actually repurpose some things, such as these dish mats. And I'm just taking out all of the little clips and everything. Those I'll put in the trash. I'll take the time for that. Because if I don't, they're worse than Legos when you step on them. And then I'm also going to cut out this tag because I don't want it. Okay. So now you're making this with me. I've never done this before. And this will literally be my second time ever putting a zipper on something. And my first time borrowing a zipper from somewhere else. So I have zippers on order from Amazon. It's called Zipper by the Yard. And they were supposed to have arrived yesterday. But Amazon being Amazon, they did not bring me my stuff. And I wanted to go ahead and get along with what I was doing. So a recommendation was that you could go and get some laundry mesh bags, which come 3 to a pack, and they are sold at the Dollar Tree. So it was like $1.25 to get 3 of those laundry mesh packs. Where did my seam ripper go? Guess we're gonna have to do this the hard way. And then you can actually take the zippers out and then use the mesh for something else later. So that's the idea here. Or at least it is the idea. I'm not sure how well I'm gonna be able to get this stuff out though, without the right tool. And my boyfriend borrowed my seam ripper and did not return it, so I don't know where it went off to. This is one of the most boring parts of sewing is removing seams. That's in my opinion. Some people might find this to be very relaxing. I am not some people. I lack patience. That's why I can't wait for Amazon to deliver me the zippers that I ordered so I didn't have to go through this. I went to Walmart to get zippers, but they only had 7-inch zippers, and Hobby Lobby is a absolute no at this time of year. It's bad enough on regular days, but the Christmas season, oh my gosh. I feel like I need bodyguards to go into that store. People just act so crazy. Any of y'all did Black Friday shopping? I went Black Friday shopping one time in my whole life, and so my son was 1 at the time, and he turns 21 in March, so that was roughly 20 years ago that I went Black Friday shopping, and that was the first and last time that I've ever done that. This lady ran my son over with her cart. I'm a little bit on the protective side. I thought I was going to be leaving with new silver bracelets, shall we call them. But footage was played, and it was seen that the lady did start it. And luckily the responding parties also had children and felt that I was not out of my mind for wanting to get her back for hitting my child. But that could have went a different way. And look at that, I got half the zipper out. Woo! Yippee! And I'm not using the right tool. Double yay! So I do all kinds of different things. Last week I was fixing the starter in my car. That's what I did on Thanksgiving Day, actually. Got it in. Had to put a new starter in. And then all this week I have been recycling dog food bags. I kind of get fixated on things, and then that's what it goes. I had to make some t-shirts for a customer yesterday, and I've had to do some buttons. I've got a few orders in those. I do AI videos and coloring pages and such like that, and so I'm working on a family reunion book for this family with that. But there's something, like, I don't mind doing stuff for other people because, you know, that's what pays the bills. There's something about doing stuff because it's what you want to do as opposed to what somebody else wants to do. And so I will spend all day long doing what I want to do and then crunching to get the stuff done that I was supposed to do. Like right now, if you ask my kids, I should probably be cooking dinner. But that's okay. I'm a master at throwing together a last minute dish that looks like it took me all day to create it. What I really want to make is, there's this guy on, oh gosh, what is he on? I think he's on TikTok, maybe. But he carries roosters around with him. The Cock Whisperer. And one of his shows, he had like a little sling for his chicken that he was carrying around. And I have this one chicken who is so spoiled rotten. Like in the morning time, she won't even get down. You have to put your hand up like this. And then the chicken walks onto your fingers. And then you have to lower it like an elevator. And she walks off. And she does not like it if you go out this way. You have to go down like an elevator. And then she walks off your fingers. goes about her day, doesn't want anything else to do with you until she decides it's time for an elevator. And we have tried, like, let's see how long the chicken will stay up there if we don't let her out. The answer is all day. Like, she will starve herself if you don't act like her elevator and let her down. Because she is spoiled. There we go. It's 1/2 of the zipper. I'm just going to bring this down. Now, the thing about zippers is that as long as these teeth aren't metal, you can sew right over them. And so if you're having a big difficulty like I am with getting it out, there is nothing at all wrong with just cutting it off a little bit. There we go. So we have us a zipper. And I'm not sure what we'll use this for yet, but mosquito season is coming again. Okay, so we have our dish mat, we have our zipper, and what we're going to be making is we're going to be making a bag. And the bag's basically going to fold up like this, and it's going to have a zipper that goes across the top. And then we want it to sit flat like this, so we'll box the corners. So the corners will look something like this when they're finished. And think of like a toiletry bag. And you'll be able to stuff it full of things. It'll be padded. This is meant to get wet and dry so you can wash it if you need to. And we just stole a zipper. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put this on. Okay, so now what we actually want is we want the zipper to be about 1 inch shorter than our mat, the small side of our mat. So let me take a look here. Our mat is our mat's 12 inches. We want our zipper to be 11. Zip it to where I need to cut it at. Make it easy for me. I asked Santa for a better craft room. If he doesn't get me one, I'm going to stop believing. And then I'm just going to pull my zipper back down so that I don't have to deal with trying to rethread it. And now you're wondering, okay, what are we going to do? Because that zipper is going to fall off on us, right? Well, we just need a piece of scrap fabric. So let me go grab a piece of scrap fabric. Scrap fabric. This is a old shirt that was from when my boyfriend was working at this other company, and he has moved to a new company since. I'm just going to move this out of the way for a bit so I can have access to my cutting mat. And what I'm going to do is, when I'm using shirts, like I like to use them for bag linings. So if I'm making a bag, especially one with recycled materials, I can use the shirt as a lining. So you see here, this is a bag. It was made out of chicken feed. And then it's got some pockets on the inside. And the lining on this bag is an old shirt. I mean, why pay for the fabric? The bag's just going to be, this particular bag is just going to be used to carry feed and stuff for the animals while I'm feeding them. So it doesn't need to have anything special or spectacular in it. So when I'm using that, the body of the shirt comes in better. So I'm gonna take the sleeve, which is usually how I start off anyways. And this little rinky-dinky rotary cutter, it does a good job. Some of them do anyways. I get these from the Dollar Tree. They don't all do the greatest job. Sometimes they get a little like stuck with the turning. And I mean, that's all right. We'll just not just cut it as close to the thing as I would if I was using my big one. But I don't want to go all the way downstairs to get that. And don't do what I just did, which is grab the blade, because that's how you slice yourself. So one moment. And now I know what they mean when they say you put your blood, sweat, and tears into a project. Okay, so we've got our zipper. Do not have... Alright, I have to break down and get the parts from downstairs. Here we go. Some rulers. Those are the best. Some good scissors. Another project that I did. This used the shirt lining. Just some extra fabric that I had left over for pockets. And this is actually the inside. Now this is not a bag that I would call a success because I was playing with the fabric. And I was really just learning how to work with it. And it's that tapestry fabric. Really, really hard to work with. And again, this was made without a pattern. I just kind of stuck it together. But I learned some things. And that's what matters, really, because this is what I'm doing, is I'm learning. And I got the tapestry from the Dollar General for $0.01 earlier this year. So I used a penny. The webbing I have for, I have like rolls of this stuff for making these different types of wreaths. That is like a kind of like an origami type folding in upon itself thing. So I had some of that. This orange fabric, I buy orange stuff just because I love orange. So I had some orange fabric sitting around. The tapestry cost me a penny. The pockets are part of the tapestry, the outside pockets. And then the lining is another one of my boyfriend's old shirts. So I'm going to do a snowman one of these now that I have done all of this. And the snowman is going to be for my mom, who loves snowmen so much that she had me videotape her saying that when she dies, she wants Frosty's hat, like one of them big top hats, she wants to be buried with it. And we had to videotape it to make sure that there was no argument among people who were present saying, well, that's not the right thing to do, and da-da-da-da. So I do have a video of my mother to make sure she gets her Frosty hat. And so I figured I would make her a Frosty bag. Last year I made her a Frosty wreath for her door. And this year she's going to get a bag. And I think I might make her a set of trash bags for her car as well. Look at that. Okay, so this, I'm not going to throw this away because I have just started, like when I start something new, I really start something new. So I started sewing about a week and a half ago. They have classes at my local libraries that teach you how to do some things. And one of the classes was sewing. There's a class called English paper piecing, which is a type of hand sewing where you make like beautiful, beautiful quilt pieces out of shapes. And I need a 2" by 3" piece. I actually need 2 of those. And so this is already on a fold, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut. Now, I've watched people cut with a rotary cutter and stop exactly where they need to be. I am not one of those people, so I'm not even going to lie to you. I'm not even going to pretend that I know how to do that. I'm just going to go all the way to the end. It's fine with me. Now, if it was fabric that I paid for, I might be a little bit more picky about it. But I didn't pay for it. It was free. It's recycled. It was going to be thrown away, and rather than throwing it away, we're turning it into something useful. And somebody might actually want. I'm just cutting off that shirt seam because we don't want that. That's not going to help us at all. But that English paper piecing, you can use different size pieces of fabric to do all kinds of different things. And you wrap it around pieces of paper and you glue it. And then after it's glued, you give it a little bit of a chance to dry. So you could go one day and you could glue your pieces together, and the next day you could start sewing them together. Or, maybe you might sew pieces that you finished and then you still feel like doing it for that day. And you start gluing it. But one of the people in the class has this quilt that they've been working on. She said she's been working on it for almost 2 years already, and she still has 2 more years to go. And that the section that she is on right now, to me, I think what she does is she does it by colors. And the section that she's on right now, she has 250 octagons. 250 octagons that she has to cut. And cut, wrap around paper, and sew. And that's just for that section. And it was one of the color of fabric that she's using right now is 250. And she's probably got like a good 3 feet, if not more, of this project already made. Probably more. I'm really bad at guesstimating things. So this is roughly a 2 by 3 inch piece of fabric. And technically we only need 1 of those, and we need 1 of them to be, did I say 2 by 3? That's my problem. That's why it looks funny. I'm like, it should be more rectangular. I did 3 by 3 because I was talking. It's okay. Let's take that off. Now I have that extra inch, and that's okay. I'm going to take this off. These are just going to be little parts that we can use for zipper tabs, like zipper stoppers, and we're going to put some hardware on our bag so that it can be carried. And so we're going to make something for that. And we also want a piece that's 14 inches long, but that's going to be determined on our hardware. So let's see what we have for hardware. Oops, that first one I find is what we're using. That doesn't have what I need. Watch me never find what it is that I need. Okay, that might be another day because I thought I had that hardware here already, but that's different sets of hardware. Those ones, what I want is a D-ring and a swivel. But we can still get going all the way up to that point, and I can leave it open until it's ready. So I'm just closing that out so I don't stab myself with it. And the longer piece that I was going to do, I still need that, but I don't know how wide I need it yet until I find that D-ring. So I might come back tomorrow and finish that out. Or if I end up doing it tonight when I find what I'm looking for and I'm not on live, then I will just do it again because I've got a few of these that I'm making. I'm actually using these as Christmas gift bags for people who are we have a group of people who cruise together, and for Christmas I got everybody a Bahama style shirt that I think matches their type, because inevitably if you're in that section of the water, you know, the country that they want to do some kind of Caribbean night. And so I got everybody these little things that are going to match that, little shirts, and want everybody to have them. And I'm going to put them in these little bags. And I was thinking about adding things like, you know, like some sunglasses, you know, just things that you might want if you were cruising. So what I'm doing here now is I'm folding this piece of fabric, this 2x3 inch fabric, or I'm going to get this together one of these days, but I did not cut this the right size. That's my problem. I should have a 2 inch by 3 inch, which is this, and then I need a 2 inches by 1.5 inches. So I need to cut this in half, and that's why it's looking funky. And making mistakes is just a sign that you're doing a good job. And if it's not, well, I don't really care because I'm going to keep saying that anyways. I make mistakes all the time, and then I take them out, and then I do it again, and that's how you learn. So now I'm going to take this, and I'm going to fold it in half, the long side, right? So the small sides are touching each other. And then I'm going to Basically open it back up and now fold that to that midline that I created. And fold that to the midline that I created. And then we're going to fold that in half. And then what we're going to do with that is we're going to stick our zipper end in it. We did cut our zipper to the right size, right? We wanted it to be 10 to 9 is 11, yes. So we're gonna stick our zipper in between that, and this is gonna create that stop so that when we go to open and close our zipper, we don't open and close our zipper too far. Stick it in here, go back, stitch it. 1, 2, 3. Didn't realize my needle was still in the wrong location, but that is okay. I'm gonna go forward all the way across. Now I'm sewing. These are like basically like nylon zippers, and that's okay for your needle to go over it. But disclaimer, you should not put your needle over a metal zipper or metal at all. That is bad, bad, bad. And then you don't necessarily have to do this, but I don't know, I think I like the act of sewing. I like the sound of the needle moving up and down. And so I probably sew things that I don't need to sew, like what I'm about to do next, is I'm just going to sew along those edges. And I feel like I should sew them just because, well, why not? Because I can. I'm just going to put my needle back in its normal position. And that's not really something that I was all that worried or concerned about back stitching, because it's not really holding anything. It's more of a decoration for me. I just wanted it. Do it again here. And that's the coolest part about creating something. You don't have to have a rhyme or reason to why you do what you do. It's yours. Do it. And if somebody doesn't like it, well, guess what? They can create their own thing. However they want it to be. Or perhaps they don't have the ability to do it, but they can always learn. So we got that. Now I'm going to just pull our zipper all the way down to make sure it's lining up right and I didn't misalign it at any point. And basically pull it back up towards the end. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we've got our other piece and we're just going to fold it in half, that short side to short side. And then get our crease and then fold it each side into that center piece. And basically what you're doing is you're just hiding those ugly ends, the rough ends, right? And I don't want them to think, you know, oh, I don't think you're ugly, zipper. That's not it at all. No. And then we're going to close that over our zipper. And keeping our zipper out of the way. We're going to go ahead, get it up under there, put our seatbelt on. Don't like how it fitted. Put our seatbelt on there. I'm going to back stitch it. And then we're going to go forward. Making sure everything that's supposed to is going in. And that all looks good. I'm going to back stitch it. Pull it out. And we're going to give it a quick stitch. Now I know other people who do, they put their zipper in and then instead of using these zipper pulls, what they do is after they put their zipper into the project, they sew across the zipper. I feel like this gives you something to hold on to when you're trying to open your zipper, you know? So I like this better. I saw this method and I'm like, you know what, this is the one I'm gonna go with. And this one works really well because I am going to be buying zipper by the yard. I say that because who knows if Amazon's gonna give it to me. They should have dropped it off for me already by today. It was supposed to be here yesterday, and I still have not heard the doorbell saying, hey, your order is here. I can remember when Amazon actually delivered things when they were supposed to, and I miss those days. So there's our finished zipper. And then now we are going to take our dish pad and we're going to hook our zipper into it, leaving just a little bit of space on each end. And we're putting the zipper side down, so basically when this is opened up, it's going to open up like that, and we'll be able to see the spots that we want. And the way this is lining up for me is just perfect. And I need to pin it. I need some actual pins. They're in a little magnetic container and they got stuck to my t-shirt press. Actual pins are going to help us better here. And basically, we're trying to put that there right on the very edge. And I would tell you how I pin, but nobody wants to pin the way I do. Trust me. When I pin, half the pins go into my fingers. So that means that I am not pinning the best way, that's for sure.
You have a package.
Oh, I have a package. Is it from Amazon?
I don't know.
We've been waiting patiently for an Amazon package.
Okay.
See, look at that. I just only touched it and it went into my finger. So I've now got it pinned. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my zipper head out of the way, so somewhere down into the middle. I'm not sewing this side yet, so that's fine. And then I'm going to put my pieces under. And I don't want to sew the teeth, because if I sew the teeth, we can't use it, right? So we want to sew as close to the teeth as we can without actually sewing the teeth. And so we're going to start by putting this bad boy down. And I'm going to readjust my needle so it's where it's supposed to be. Then, and then I'm just going to move it over a little bit. See how that goes. And there's nothing that says you have to go flying out of the gate to get this going, you know? And don't be like me. I do this a lot. You gotta remember to move those pins out the way so that you can go forward. And basically what I do is I move my needle position over some, and then still using my foot as the guide so that I can hopefully get a nice even stitch that does not put me in danger of not being able to zip. And what we're encountering right now, let me put my needle down, is that the zipper, we've reached that point where I now need to move the zipper up further so that we can get through. I might have to turn it a little bit. See, it's on a, by leaving the needle down, I have it on a pivot, so it makes it easy for me to make sure I can get it back where I wanted it at. And since we're here, let's take out that pin as well. I'm just back stitching. And ba-dam, we got us a nice looking redonkulon there. So then you still have this little flap that comes up, and we don't want that getting caught up in the zipper. And see, now there's a different type of foot called a zipper foot, and if I'm waiting for it, it's part of stuff I'm waiting for from Amazon, but if I put that on, it would have allowed me to get right up here, right up against that zipper. But I wasn't able to get that, and that's okay. So we're just going to continue, and we're going to sew it one more time, but trying to sew that as close to that edge as we can to keep that down. And for me, that means I can keep my needle, I'm not my needle, but I can keep my machine exactly the way I was. I'm going to go back through the way I went through the first time, except I'm going to do it from the other side because I want this stitch to look from the other side, I think. Let me see what that looks like this way. So this way it has this foot on the, so I want a decorative stitch is what we're going for here, right? And so I'm going to put that down there, and hopefully I'm getting this. I meant to move my needle over. Moving it as far over to the edge as we can so that we can take care of this. And remember, as we get close to the zipper puller, we're going to want to stop, put our needle down, raise the foot up, and slide our zipper through. Just kind of finagle it till you get through, and if you're having trouble, just spin it like we did the last time. It's nothing you can't do if you just try hard. Put it back, put your foot back down, and go at it.